Hi everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about all of this week's Disney Plus news, including X-Men. We'll also be talking about Ice Age movies. Also be talking a little bit about Rise of the Skywalker, and we'll also be sharing our thoughts on Togo and a few other bits and pieces. But before we go into any more details, just want to say a big thank you to all of our Patreons for helping supporting this podcast. It really does make a big difference, especially with all the COPA issues coming up next month. It means that the podcast is unaffected by that because of everybody's support. So a big thank you to over at Andrew, also to Julie, and also to Russell for being Diamond members of the Patreon. Your help really does make all the difference. I just wanted to say a big thank you to that, and hope you all have a very nice Christmas. So nevertheless, let's get into a little bit of housekeeping as well. If you haven't already done so, make sure you do join up on our Facebook group. You'll find it on there, and we have about 80,000 members now, so there's plenty of discussions going on over there. So feel free to join in. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. And yeah, and you can also find us on audio platforms and YouTube, etc., etc. So let's jump into the news first off before we get into the reviews. So the big new release this week was Togo. We also had a brand new series start, Pick of the Litter, so we'll be talking about them in a little bit more detail. And then we've had all the usual suspects as well. High School Musical, The Mandalorian. Now, The Mandalorian did drop a few days early, and because of Rise of the Skywalker. But the big news really of the week was Disney dropped what is going to be the upcoming releases for January. So they've released the first 2 weeks, and this is just how they seem to be doing it. So we've got the first 2 weeks, a number of titles in there. We've got America's National Parks, Austin and Alley, seasons 1 to 4. That was I've seen that one requested a lot. Now I'm going to try and get this one right. Billy Dilly Super Duper Subterranean Summer Season 1. I was like, trying to read that out the first time. So that's that one's on there. You've also got Cool Runnings. Now, a quick note here. There was an issue I put up on one of the articles about, and I think probably some of you've probably seen it as well, was the D2 and D3, the Mighty Ducks movies, originally were on your app saying that they were coming on the 1st of December or 1st of January 2020. The app then seemed to change for some people. Some people did, some people didn't. And theirs was saying 2021, and it's not on the official list. So it looks like that one's been pushed back another year. So if you can't wait for Mighty Ducks. Now, that's in some territories, because some countries are different. Dog Impossible, Dog K Exotic Animal ER, Season 8, Dr. Oakley Yukon Vet, Season 7, Dr. T Lone Star, Season 1. When I had Lone Star, I just went back to that really, really bad movie and TV series from the 80s. Do you remember that one? Lone Star?
No, Lone Star for me is Spaceballs.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was, again, the thing. We got a load of drain the ocean and drain the Great Lakes and drain the Titanic and a few other ones. First Class Chefs, Family Season 1. We've got Hacksaw. Have you ever heard of Hacksaw?
No, that's another new one for me.
No, hadn't heard of that one. My mind instantly went to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And then
I'm assuming that's a wrestler.
Oh!
Means nothing to me.
Yeah. And speaking of Hull, the next one was Hull. That one was a big movie. That one's gone on there. We got some other things like Marvel Rising Secret Warriors Battle of the Bands, Marvel 75 Years from Pop to Pulp. I'm thinking, isn't it the 80th anniversary this year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll go with yes.
Yes. I was going to say, I got a load of merchandise with 80 years on it, so that was really kind of going back and putting that one on. We got some shorts for the Muppet Babies. The other good one, One Strange Rock. This one leaves Netflix on the 1st of January and it's going straight onto Disney Plus. In the US, it's already out in some regions, because that's what threw me off on this one, because I'd already watched like 2 episodes already. Out There with Jack Randall, Season 1. That's something I want to watch. He used to work at the Australia Zoo, the Steve Irwin Zoo, so he's doing something like that one. Randy Cunningham, 9th Grade Ninja, Seasons 1 and 2. Got some more shorts. Soya Luna, Season 1. Some more shorts. The Proud Family, Seasons 1 and 2. We've also got Wild Russia, Season 1. Year Million, Season 1. And then the following day, we've got Life Below Zero, Seasons 13. And then on January the 10th, Marvel's Runaway Season 3, which I thought was rather interesting because that only went on to Hulu like this last week. I'm just hoping they put season 2 on there because I haven't seen season 2 yet, so I don't want to.
That was what got me about that one. Is like we're putting season 3 on, and like I don't remember you putting season 2 on.
No, I checked this.
It's not up right now.
No.
I know that. I have seen season 2. I have not seen season 3 because I don't have Hulu. And now I don't see any reason for me to make that change because I'll just wait for season 3 over there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched season 1. One of those things. It's because Hulu. We don't have Hulu in the UK, so it was on like Sci-Fi Channel, and it was on demand on Now TV, and I missed it. I didn't know it was on, and so when I went on to on demand, like the first 3 episodes were gone. So it was at that point, it's like, right, I'll just have to wait. And now I'm like, okay, this is good. So I'm just gonna have to wait for the Runaways. I enjoyed season 1. I enjoyed Cloak and Dagger seasons 1 and 2. So I know they're in this season as well for a few episodes. That's kind of the end of their arc as well. But yeah, so that I thought the Runaways was a bit of a big hitter, which was good. Also in Canada this past week, a load of X-Men movies got added. So like X-Men 1, 2, 3. You also got the new trilogies as well. So you had like First Class, Days of Future Past, you had Apocalypse, you had X-Men Origins Wolverine, you also had the Wolverine. The only ones not on there were obviously Dark Phoenix, because that's only just come out. That will still have to probably go to HBO first. Then also Logan, Deadpool, the kind of ones we would have expected. Australia as well, I think, I also got it this week. Netherlands hasn't, and Canada has. The US hasn't. So that's kind of quite interesting. I thought, especially seeing them kind of dropping in unannounced.
Yeah, I guess probably because it wasn't in the primary market, which we're going to consider the States at the moment. That's no offense intended to Canada or any of the markets. It's just at the moment, with the exception of China, where the app has not launched yet. And won't for quite some time. America is the primary market from Disney's perspective. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's about 85% of the market is currently in the US. And that's just how it is. It is one of those things, whenever these stories go up about content going up in other regions, usually every single comment underneath it is usually on the lines of US, US, US. And ultimately, it's a global system, global audience. We have a global audience as well. We have thousands of people visiting the website and our group and stuff that aren't in the US. And also, more importantly, I view it more of once it starts hitting other places, then that actually starts giving us a signal of what is deemed Disney Plus material. We've been wondering about the X-Men movies. So then going on to the system, and also what was quite interesting is when you went into the Marvel section, once they were added, the Marvel Cinematic Universe bar that they have became movies rather than just it's like they've stepped away from the idea of like this. And Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer was also added to the Netherlands as well this past week. So we're starting to see this kind of dripping in of and I think this is good. I think this putting on 10 to 15 Marvel movies from the Fox back catalog, I think this is a great idea.
There's no real reason not to include them, even ones that weren't quite as successful, like Fantastic Four Stick, the more recent one, which is not on there yet, but it will be eventually.
Yeah.
Daredevil, Elektra, stuff like that. There's the only ones we won't see are the ones you mentioned before, which would be Logan, Deadpool 1 and 2. And if they ever do another R-rated movie, we wouldn't expect those to be on there.
No, I think it's good. I think this whole kind of like MCU being this pure thing and nothing can go anywhere near it. It's like people can. It's like put them on there. It's like we need to kind of get past the fact that there has been other versions of those movies, and they've been around for a long time. We had the Incredible Hulk back in the 70s, and we have seen these characters on screen before. So yeah, I think this is good. I think actually just having the X-Men on, I think it'll have a bigger impact when it hits the US of when they can promote it but streaming rights, I think some of them are on like Fubo, and that also ties over to an email that I got. Ice Age. They're putting all of the Ice Age movies. There's 5 of them all dropping on January in the Netherlands, which I thought was great because they've put like in the US, you've got like one Easter special. In the Netherlands, there's also a Christmas special as well. But I think getting Ice Age movies on there, I mean, we know they're doing so. It makes total sense to put this content on there and to utilize it. And I think they're just going to continue to use these movies just to fill up that back catalogue. But it all comes down to those licensing rights, because when you look at the Ice Age movies at the minute, they're split between DirecTV, Stars, Amazon, Fubu. They're all over. This is the problem with those movies, and they may be thinking of holding off till they're all available. I don't know, but I'm liking the idea that they're starting to drop on there, just randomly.
Yeah, it goes back to them putting Runaways season 3 on there without season 2 back on there. It's an awkward move, and sticking Ice Age 3 when they don't have 2 and 1, or Scrat's Adventure or any of those. It's a bit odd, but at the same time, there is somebody or multiple people out there who are like, where are the Ice Age movies? Why haven't we had the? As we've seen in the build up to Disney Plus, just about every movie and TV show ever created is on somebody's radar.
Yeah.
And Ice Age is bigger than some of the stuff that we've seen people asking for.
Yeah.
So I guarantee there are people waiting for this.
I also think as well, people aren't aware that it's going to be on Disney Plus, because they aren't. A lot of people haven't associated these movies with Disney yet. I really enjoyed them. I went to see a number of these at the cinema. I think it was just literally the last one I hadn't seen. So I think these are great additions. I think they have very high quality content. I think they're good. So I can't wait to see them on there. Actually, I probably will be watching them because I've got the Netherlands account. But it's just that kind of thing. And I think it's great to have this content dropping on there, but it also gives us a peek into what is deemed Disney Plus. And we can start seeing this kind of rolling through. It's just going to be growing pains for this next 18 months or so while they get all these contracts expired and pushed away. This time next year, a load of these contracts are done. Like the things with Fox and all the rest of it. We've got things like Spies in Disguise hitting cinemas this week for Christmas. And because of the deal with HBO, it might end up being years before we can get onto Disney Plus. But when you see like Disney promoting it through their social media and all the rest of it, you kind of start going, and their YouTube channel just going, they so would want that. I mean, it's just real a pain that this is all going to be on there. It could end up being on HBO Max before it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, when Disney announced that they would be doing like a single service for their stuff, we didn't really anticipate there would be quite so many movies that we had to wait for because they're still on other platforms or promised to other platforms. But 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, all of this will be something we just laugh about.
Yes. A couple of other quick bits and pieces. Marvel's What If has been confirmed for a second season, and the first season will consist of 10 episodes, and so will the second season, and that's going to be coming probably around maybe this time next year or 2021. So that's good to know that animated series, they've got faith in it after seeing the first few episodes, but again, a little bit more longer for us.
Yeah. Nothing much to say. We know virtually nothing about the series except the premise, and we know the actors are coming back. It might be confidence in the series, and it might just be we need content to add to the list. I'm kind of hoping it's the former, though. Yes.
Also, according to a Instagram post by the director of Lamp Life, which is the Bo Peep short for Toy Story, that's coming to Disney Plus in January. Wasn't in the list the first 2 weeks, so it might be coming a bit later on, but wouldn't surprise me if they're holding off on that announcement until after the Christmas period to kind of boost up January's thing, which I think, actually, to be honest, I think Lion King and Aladdin are big enough, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Toy Story 4 is kind of slid straight into that as well. But the fact you got the director saying it, that's usually a good sign.
It's probably a good source.
Yes. Couple of other quick bits and pieces here, just looking at. Apparently, if you're on Delta, you can now get in-flight entertainment to include some of the favorites from Disney Plus, or as I like to call it, they've got some Disney movies on their in-flight entertainment system, and they're giving you a 14-day free pass when you get home with Disney Plus. The concept that you're not accessing Disney Plus, you've just got 10 movies on their on-demand system, and they've kind of rebranded it somehow. I read this here, and I was like, I was on a plane last week with Lion King and a load of Disney movies. And like, it's just called. It was in a Disney section, and he clicked on it, and he had all these movies. Like they've just changed the logo. I was a bit like, okay, but if you've been on a flight, you do get a pass for a 14-day free trial, which I thought that's good. But there's a nice little bit of cross promotion there.
All promotion is good promotion. And
yes.
Yeah, you're right. It's just changing the logo at the top because we've been getting these movies on flights forever. But it makes people aware, and everything. Yeah. It's all about awareness at this point. Yeah. They got the hardcore. They got the annual pass holders, the D23 members, the old Disney home movie subscribers, the people who go to Disney all the time. Now they're trying to reach out to the people who who aren't aware of Disney Plus. And despite the numbers of subscribers, there's still a lot of people who don't even know it exists.
No, I think they're up for about 22, 24 million is the latest suggestion from. We'll find out probably next month at the quarterly results. A couple of other bits and quick pieces. Looking here, we have got Diary of a Future President is going to be coming to Disney Plus on Friday, December the 17th. This is going to have a 10-episode series. They've changed the name. It was Diary of a Female President. They've changed it to Diary of a Future President. Having seen the comments of when I've put up videos and posted articles about this TV series, changing the name is a very good idea because the backlash I saw just on posts I put up, and I just imagine what Disney's like internal systems of checking what people's reactions were. This is a lot less divisive as a name.
I mean, it shouldn't be, honestly, but I get that it is, and yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but. If it makes it a little bit better, if it makes it so people aren't so quick to dismiss it just because of some bias or whatever, fine. Whatever they need to do. Yeah,
as somebody that grew up with, Margaret Thatcher, and then we've had Theresa May, so I've had like female leaders for half my life, so I didn't.
Roger, didn't you know women are not allowed to be leaders or something?
Yeah.
I don't.
So for me, it's like there's the kind of thing of that doesn't really register on your mind as being an issue, but it's America, so nevertheless,
it shouldn't be an issue.
No, so that's one of those situations of it's coming. So I think this will fill the void when High School Musical, the series ends. So I think that's probably a good thing. I'll give it a go. I put some pictures up as well from the series. Looks a little bit younger than I was expecting because it is focused on the 10-year-olds. It did look more like a Disney Channel show than from the pictures I saw. But I'll give it a go when it comes out.
I mean, at this point, the way they're trickling out the content, there's no reason not for us to check them out. Yeah. And I think that goes for most people too.
Yeah.
Although we did see that poll result. I don't know how much you want to put weight into it, where they were talking about most people are on Disney Plus for the classic content, which is interesting.
Yeah, actually, that was kind of interesting. We'll lead into that one there. Before we go into that, I just reminded they added on this week onto Disney Plus High School Musical, the series, the special. There was a half an hour documentary. I'm like, I was typing out the name and going, seriously, guys, how many more things do you want to put in there?
There is somebody at Disney right now who is just saying, how far can we go with this before people rebel? This is like that NCIS episode where they had the computer was being hacked or something, so they had both of the characters typing on the same keyboard just to see if people would like complain about the fact that they're two characters using the same keyboard.
Yeah.
They're in a competition for how ridiculous they can make it.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. So there was that article from the Hollywood Reporter did a poll to kind of look at what people are subscribing. It's kind of interesting because only about like 20% of the people that they asked were actually subscribed, so it wasn't a big thing. But then when they were going through with like a big chunk of people are watching the classics, a big chunk of people are watching Star Wars, but it's kind of like 23% watching the classics, and only a few percent were watching the originals and all the rest of it. And it didn't surprise me because I think this whole nostalgia trip on Disney Plus has been a big key thing for getting people to subscribe. My thing is how long does that nostalgia zone last until you kind of maybe in 6 months' time go, I've seen it now. That nostalgia thing doesn't quite will play the same. But I'm not surprised. I mean, Disney have got a massive back catalogue.
Yeah, and it's not going to be the same for everybody. Some people are going to be watching it for the originals, and if the originals dry up, they're not going to keep going on. But I think for a lot of the people who are signed up for the classics, they're going to hold on to this for quite some time. They're probably also the people who signed up for like 3 years just right out the bat. But having access to those classics, either for yourself or your kid, your niece, nephew, visitors, any of that, just having access to the Disney back catalog gives you so many options.
And also, just I think that's the key. You know, they'll kind of go for it. The only thing that got me was like the lack of interest in the originals. I'm kind of, in some ways, I understand that, because I don't think the originals are the strongest point right now. But you know, when you got a big chunk of people are subscribing for like The Simpsons and stuff like that, I just feel like in general there's so much. National Geographic wasn't too hot on it, but again, I still feel like National Geographic is kind of one of those situations of people aren't aware that is now a Disney property. And National Geographic is always going to be a bit further down the line. I mean, when I see that list of the things I read out earlier on, the few National Geographic shows stand out to me as an adult viewer much more than whatever that Da Vinci Thesaurus kind of, the mass, these animated series. I'm naturally just drawn to something like Life Below Zero much easier than, or something about, Wild Russia or something like that. That's what I'm more interested in. But Disney are in this like weird zone, I think, now of, and I see it on the group all the time, of what people deem as Disney is very different from some side to side. Some people look at it purely Disney Channel, Disney Junior, nothing, anything above that is not what they've signed up for and don't get why it's there. And there's a whole load of us that are probably got a wider view of entertainment, and we can watch an animated series, but we also want to watch something serious as well. And I think that's just the thing they've got to try and do. And Disney really got that. I think they've got an uphill battle trying to get that content out there. And I think they need to push this National Geographic stuff, but at the same time, that doesn't bring people in. It's the classics. You put up a video with 25 Disney movies, you'll get more subscribers than if you put up a video with 25 National Geographic series. It's just the way it goes.
They just need to balance it. And then I think it does lead into why there's less interest in the originals reportedly, because also part of it is they have such a range of originals. You've got Jeff Goldblum, you've got High School Musical, you've got The Mandalorian, I'm blanking on the name. Pick of the litter, and stuff like that. The crossover of who's watching those isn't really the same. I mean, you might have people who watch both High School the Musical and The Mandalorian, but they don't bother watching Jeff Goldblum. And we watch almost all of it, but it's mostly to talk about it on this podcast. There are definitely a couple of shows where I would just be, if I wasn't expecting to talk about it here, you know what? Save it for a rainy day. Save it for a couple months, and by the time a couple months come around, something else has got my attention instead.
I'm already finding there are some seasons, some shows that I just don't watch straight away, or even I'm a few episodes behind. Things like Marvel Hero Project, even Encore is a little bit like that, where I'm just not keeping up because the interest, even Jeff Goldblum, I'm a few episodes behind, because it's that kind of thing of like, I'd rather watch something else. It's not, compelling. That it's not that thing of like comes out and I've got to watch it. And I think that is, Disney it's going to take time to grow. I mean, the original section is going to take time to grow, but they are putting a load of money into it. Again, there's some other Disney originals that they're apparently working on. The Godmothered movie, which is now called Frills, that's set to start filming next month, and it's basically going to be set as the fairy godmother as a young godmother in her 20s dealing with a family. That's a new Disney Plus movie. We've also got apparently a Turner and Hooch Disney Plus series is now currently in development. Have you ever seen Turner and Hooch?
Bits and pieces. I know about it. I've never really sat down and watched
It's
it.
funny because I've seen this movie hundreds. This was one of my like go-to movies as a kid because a kind of era with Tom Hanks. I love this movie. I thought it was fantastic as a kid. It was funny in the fact of like the interest in this was much lower than I was expecting because I think in my head it was a big movie, but maybe not in everybody else.
It's funny how that works because I remember growing up watching Hook all the time. I thought like, oh yeah, Hook. That's a lot of people know Hook. That's a classic Peter Pan movie. And I grow up and I'm like, oh no, this was a box office bomb. Most people don't really pay attention to Hook. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you just never know. Yeah, so they're working on that one there. There's also a new series being created by the Once Upon a Time creators called Epic. Which is going to be set in like a Disney universe with a number of new characters, set in an enchanted forest, heroes, villains, princesses, magical beings, while still paying homage to classic signposts from the stories we used to know. Being made by ABC Signature Studios, which are also making a number of other Disney Plus series. They haven't specifically said anything from Deadline that it's a Disney Plus series, but you've got a series being made with Disney character. It's a Disney Plus series, and I think they need some fantasy stuff on there.
I mean, honestly, Once Upon a Time was a really good show intermittently. It probably suffered quite a bit from the whole like 22, 24 episode per season when they would have done much better with a condensed season. But when it was good, it was really good. And a lot of the characters were a lot of fun to be around. So if they can make Epic more focused towards like a modern storytelling style, this could be really good.
I am waiting for Once Upon a Time to hit Disney Plus. We knew it's coming at some point. I think there's some deal with Netflix or they're holding off to it for some reason. But it was one of those series that I remember seeing advertised in America on the buses and stuff. And then my wife started watching it on Netflix. And then I kind of came home one day and she was like halfway through season 2 and goes, "Oh, did you want to watch this?" And that was it. She's gone through all 7 seasons and loved them. I've maybe seen a few bits at the end, but it was always that thing of, she went on without me on the TV series. So I just, and there's that kind of thing now of like 7 seasons of 20, like 200 episodes to catch up on. Is like, that's a time commitment.
To be fair, you can drop the final season. Most of the cast got changed over. It was one of those situations where the core cast was like, yeah, we're going to go off and do other things. Bye, guys. But we still want to do the show.
Yeah.
Enjoy. I mean, it was a perfectly fine season, but it's not anywhere near the same storytelling style range as the original. So, 1 season out of 7.
Yeah, it's not too bad. As apparently Disney has also picked up a new movie called The Map of the Tiny Perfect Things, which is going to be going into production next year. It was a youth novel and it was being shopped around, and then Disney have picked it up. Again, I think this will be a perfect Disney Plus movie. This is the kind of thing, the low budget, youth orientated or youth fiction books. It's just, it just seems like a natural idea for that one to be coming on to Disney Plus when that one gets made. But that kind of wraps up the news part of this week. So let's move now into what we've been watching. So I think we should probably start with the big one, Togo. So Togo hit Disney Plus yesterday. Me and my wife watched it yesterday afternoon. Now, I know you literally just watched it. So what have you thought of it?
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Willem Dafoe was great in it. The dogs were really great in it. His wife, the actress's name is totally escaping me right now.
Julianne Moore, something like that. Yeah.
Was it Julianne Moore? Well, either way, all of them, great job. Really well told. It was a good example of why you do a dog story with actual dogs.
Yes.
Cough, cough, Lady and the Tramp, and cough, cough, Call of the Wild.
Yes, it's actually I'll be honest, me and my wife, we watched it yesterday. It got to the end of the movie and we're like just crying away. It's like dogs, movies. This, I said to my wife straight away, I said, because she always kind of goes, because it's like, I thought, right, what did you think of it? Because I always like to get somebody else. And she goes, oh, that was really good. I enjoyed that one. She said it's like the best thing they've had on Disney Plus. She said because everything else has been a bit. She doesn't like everything. And I, you know what? My only thing is, it's like it felt like a proper movie. It felt like I was actually watching a proper movie that I'd rented or I'd got. It was. I know it's like it sounds stupid compared to Lady and the Tramp and Noelle, but it felt like a proper movie that I would have wanted to have watched and would have maybe. And again, I wouldn't have probably gone cinema to see it, but it would have been something I would have watched at home. It was high quality, very well made. It looked beautiful. I'll be honest, William Dafoe turned me around. We mentioned this last time. I'd only ever really seen him as a villain in Speed 2 and Spider-Man, so therefore I didn't really know if I loved it. I mean, the fact that dogs as well, so doing it with real dogs makes such a difference. You know, the look in their faces, and then when he was a little pup, the way when he's like licking his face, and it's a dog, and it doesn't look stupid, and it doesn't it's like that kind of situation of using a real dog. It's cheaper for them, and it just looks better. It's like, I know they can do a bit more with CGI, but it just looks so much better. And when the dog perps up and looks at them or looks at them at a certain angle, you can see it. And if you're a dog person, you're going to love it. But yeah, I thought this was such a good movie. It's probably now, I would say, my number 2 Disney Plus, or maybe it's in the top 3 Disney Plus originals. If I was to say to anyone to watch, it's this one, Imagineering Story, and The Mandalorian. These are the top tier for me now of Disney Plus. This was a proper Disney feature movie. Actually, even if Disney wasn't even involved in this, I would have still said that this was a very good quality movie.
Definitely. It's definitely the best of the original movies. No question there. I wouldn't even compare it to The Mandalorian or The Imagineering Story. Yeah. They're completely different genres. Yeah. They're completely different style. But it was well paced. The script was good. It's fairly minimal in the script. The cinematography is gorgeous. The landscape shots of Alaska, I presume that they were shot mostly on location with the landscape shots, not necessarily the actual sledding. But yeah, just all around really well done. Anybody with a Disney Plus subscription, which I assume is most people listening to this, give this one a chance. It's really well done. It's a good Christmas / holiday, whatever your holiday is at this time, movie to watch with the family. Very wholesome, animal movies, dog movies in particular. And yes, there is crying involved, but it's not, old Yeller crying.
No,
it's just to be clear.
It's just a touching movie of, a man and his dog and the family. And it just, I couldn't really put that across as the fact of, like I said, we got to the end of it and going, and it was one of those movies as well. Phone put down, upside down, and it wasn't that thing of, because I think like Lady and the Tramp and Noelle were a bit like, okay, did they kind of go off track? And Togo, it just felt like this is a proper movie. And the trouble is, if it gone to the cinema, it probably, I think it had a $40 million budget, so it wasn't a huge expensive movie. This is what they want to make with Disney Plus. But this is the kind of example of the quality that you can be put out when Disney kind of loses that whole box office, where this thing would have had to have made like 150 million. And if it come in, it can be called a flop before it's even gone in. This was such a good movie, and it pulls up Disney Plus by being on there. I wish they'd in some ways had advertised it a bit more, maybe. But just as a whole, it's a very, very good quality product for Disney Plus.
I agree 100%. And my original plan to watch it was to kind of have it as a second screen viewing. I was going to knock some work out and have it up on the second screen. I am glad that I did not do that. I actually was on the couch and I watched it. And I was originally on my phone, just kind of checking up on things. And within 10 minutes, I was like, nope, this is getting my full attention.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a proper, it does feel strange to kind of feel like, it's like Noelle kind of was along the lines of like, it looked like it had all the cinematography and stuff at the village, but then once it kind of got into Arizona parts of it started feeling like a TV movie, whereas this felt like a proper movie that you go see. But then this is what's happening with movies now is, they know that things are changing and things are moving along. I mean, have you seen that Six Underground on Netflix with Ryan Reynolds?
I haven't, but I do want to see it. It's actually probably going to be something I watch over the next couple of weeks because, with the exception of The Mandalorian ending the next show, I'm kind of ready to get back to some other television that I've been missing in the last couple of weeks of Disney Plus. Six Underground, The Expanse on Amazon, maybe try out The Witcher on Netflix. These are all on the list, but no, for the moment it's Disney.
It's just that thing of like something like Six Underground. You're watching it and you're going, this would have been probably a box office smash because it's not amazingly good, but it's like $120 million budget. It felt like a Michael Bay blow everything up movie that you would have seen before, and that was the kind of thing I got from Togo, or this kind of thing. Like, no, this is a proper movie, and they've decided that, with the way that people are watching movies and stuff, this wouldn't have been a franchise tentpole that they could have pulled in under 200-300 million pound for. I think a lot of people should check this one. It's probably a slow burner, but it's gonna be a good indication of what to watch on Disney Plus, and can't really recommend it enough for everyone to check it out.
Yeah, and because it is on Disney Plus, you don't have to worry about it's in theaters. Am I going to miss it while it's in theaters? No, it's just on Disney Plus, and it will be on Disney Plus for years and years and years, ready for you to watch it. Even if you don't watch it right away, definitely add it to your hit the plus button and add it to your list so that you don't forget it exists.
Yeah, this one's going to be going in the, I can tell this one's going to be going on the top 50 and the top original movies or top lists that I do on the website. And they'll probably just be staying there because it's just like, this is exactly what we want on there. Another new series with dogs. It was a bit of a dog day for me yesterday. Pick of the Litter, a brand new ABC documentary series, 6 episodes. Got the first episode yesterday, looking at how to train up guide dogs for the blinds, and the first episode was all about basically like the first initial stage, like the puppy walking. Did you watch this series?
No, I haven't had a chance to. When I was sitting down tonight before the podcast, my choice was Togo or Pick of the Litter, and I picked Togo.
Pick of the Litter is, the trouble is, and this is the thing, and I've mentioned this before, we used to have guide dog puppies when I was a kid. So we actually went through this twice. The third time we decided to actually just get our own dog because we couldn't deal with the constantly giving the dogs back. So because of that, I was much more interested. My auntie used to work for guide dogs. I used to go to the center near here. She used to have an ex-guide dog. We actually have, where I'm sat now, we actually have a guide dog hotel where people come and stay with their dogs. And so I see multiple guide dogs a day, and they're doing all their training. They do a training route here as well. So for me, guide dogs they're something that's been part of my life. I see them daily. They're not something that's just randomly I might see when I'm at. They've been kind of a major part when I think of it now. So when I was watching this documentary series, it's like, okay, that's cool. I'll react. All right. So, and like when they're talking about the heartbreak of handing the dog back, it hits me much harder because I've experienced it, and I'm glad that they showed that. And I thought it was a good series. I thought it was a bit light and fluffy, as you'd expect. Lots of adorable shots of puppies, lots of that kind of thing of things. My wife, on the other hand, thought it was a bit bland because she doesn't have that same thing that I obviously have with guide dogs. She said it was fine. She said, but it was a bit I think it was that kind of thing of, you can carry on watching this without me. I've said this before. It has that, as I would call it, that American presenting style that we don't have over here in the UK. So it feels a little bit lighter the way they talk, and obviously for Americans that's the style that you're used to, but for us, I'm used to the BBC way of doing it and the Channel 4 way, and so therefore the American style is a little bit lighter and a little bit more fluffy than we're used to, so it always comes across a little bit less. You're like, okay, can you just, like, it feels like they're talking down to you, That's just it's a difficult thing to say. It's just as a style, we have a different style here, and it's hard to explain because even like our British shows that go out to America, I know quite often they change the actual presenter. I mean, you'll have like Oprah or someone else where we've had somebody else, and we've mentioned this before, like with David Attenborough. You've found this experience yourself.
Yes, that specific experience. I think it
Yeah,
was Planet Earth or
yeah,
Life or something like that. The States version was Oprah. The BBC version was David Attenborough. And even Americans actually were like, no, give us David Attenborough. It's night and day. I mean,
yeah,
there were obviously people
yeah.
who preferred the
Mm,
Oprah version of it because it's Oprah.
mm.
She's a mega star. But I think a lot of people were just like, no, David Attenborough's got that. He has what you think of as a narrator's voice. Him,
Yeah,
Morgan Freeman, a couple other guys. But I do know what you mean in regards to the other things. That they've got that kind of hallmark,
yeah.
saccharine kind of like feel
Softly
good.
spoken, and
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
yeah.
And
It works fine. I mean, I'll be honest, it doesn't take away from the. I think this series it works very well because of the puppy zone of it, and it's very upbeat. It's very they kind of gloss over some of the like the negative sides of it a little bit more than they probably should have done. But it's very upbeat, very nice, very wholesome. I definitely think everyone should check it out. And this is the great thing with Disney Plus. Try it. If you don't like it, then watch another episode or stop it halfway through. But I think this was a good quality documentary. But I am biased, and I think I saying this, and I'll say this for the next 5 episodes. I am biased when it comes to this series, and I can't really stress that enough. But I'm enjoying it. I'm in for the season. I'll be watching this each week. This will be a go-to for me. But I'm interested in this to find out what they do when they take the dogs away and when they're training them and what has to go through that. And I think it's important that people watch these kind of things. But it's also just really cute. The puppies are great.
I mean, should I be pointing out that I'd biased with anything Star Wars for the last couple of
Yeah,
weeks?
I don't know. I just feel like for this show, it feels a little bit like I've got an interest in this documentary that like when we watched like the Jeff Goldblum ones, and I say about like the ice cream episode of being, well, I've been an ice cream seller for 30 years. I look at this in a very different light than you would. And the same thing with gaming. And, we found that with the National Geographic, with those episodes of things we know about sometimes are harder for us to watch than the ones that we know nothing about, because, they cover it different. I mean, if you've ever watched video game content on mainstream television, gamers just can't stand it because it's usually so bad. But like I said, this one's really cute, really lovely, definitely worth trying it. It does seem, and I'm wondering if they're going to be doing this kind of situation of where, like a documentary leaves and then they're going to replace it with another documentary, or when a teen drama ends, they're going to replace it with another teen drama. And when The Mandalorian ends, we're just going to wait till Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or at least Star Wars, maybe Clone Wars. But I'm wondering if that's how they're going to so we're going to get like teen drama, documentary, National Geographic documentary, and kind of go along those lines.
I kind of hope they do. That would be a nice way of doing it. And if it ends up being about a subject that you don't care about, or you really like High School Musical, the musical, but the next show is a completely different topic aimed at a slightly different demographic, then you can skip it. And in 8, 12, however many weeks, there's another one, and you can try that one out. So I kind of hope they do that. In regards to the Star Wars and Marvel, it would be nice if they could do that. But obviously,
Well, I just thought then, well, if Marvel Hero Project is a 20 episode season, that would get us probably near to August for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that might, but I don't know. I realize they're both Marvel. I don't think I would put them in the same because, you go, we want the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then we want it to be WandaVision and What If, and
yeah, but they're not coming until at least August, September. So 20 weeks is, I mean, we've done 6, so we've still got another 12 more weeks left of Marvel Hero Project at least. So that takes us through till at least Easter. So if they've got like the idea of like there's one Marvel show, one Star Wars, one National Geographic original each week, because I'm wondering if that's like the phase that they're going through. That might just be it. I mean, I think, we're also going to get Star Wars: The Clone Wars. They've not said when that's coming, but I think we're all kind of expecting maybe February now. That might tie into the idea of if that's I don't know how long that is. I mean, we don't know how many episodes are in that season. I think that could tie us through maybe for most of the year, going through week to week. But yeah, I think we seem to be kind of getting that gist of how this release schedule system seems to be kind of, it's always been this like thing of trying to work it out, and there's going to be some changes and stuff, but we're on that first stage really of finding the new stuff coming on. And Pick of the Litter and Diary of a Future President are both dropping after essentially their initial something else in that same line leaves.
Right, and
yeah,
no problem with that. I do hope they continue that. I just wish we had something after The Mandalorian, although I don't mind watching it again.
Yeah, I do think that The Mandalorian there is going to be a massive hole in the Disney Plus lineup after the new year when The Mandalorian ends. And I know there's going to be a lot of people unsubscribing and people coming back. But if you took away The Mandalorian at the minute, I don't think the lineup is strong enough without The Mandalorian. I think Disney Plus would have had a very different launch without it. So I think it would have been big. I think The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda really helped push it up. But I think there's going to be a lot of people that will drop out until the Marvel shows. There's a whole core audience of, and I see this a lot with the group, there's like the Star Wars, the adults that are coming in for these like high quality dramas. And the minute that these aren't there, they might be okay, I can watch all the Star Wars and all the Marvel movies, but usually at that point they go in, I've already got them on DVD, and there's that I think that's going to leave a massive hole in the Disney Plus. And sorry about that, Diary of a Future President is not going to fill it.
No, it's not going to be a subscription seller unless it turns out like absolutely amazing. But let's assume it's standard Disney Channel quality, which has its market, and it will have its viewers, and it will be popular. It will be the bonus to having a Disney Plus subscription rather than being the reason to have a Disney Plus subscription.
Yeah, I think once we hit like August, and then I think we start getting, Falcon and the Winter Soldier for 6-8 weeks. Then we get maybe Mandalorian season 2. Then we're going to go into What If. Then we're going to go into maybe WandaVision. Then when you got the Marvel series dropping in probably between the Star Wars series, you're going to start, and then there's 3 to 4 Marvel movies back to back, and they drop in, and then you're going to get, I think like, that will really start making a difference of like in 2021 and 2022. And when you're looking at the year ahead and going, actually, there is 4 or 5 big Disney and Marvel and Star Wars movies series to keep people, that audience contained, and why people are subscribing, and things like Epic and Once Upon a Time, that kind of things will bring a certain audience in. But those big things that are bringing a lot of people in, they'll be more regular. They'll probably be dropping much more frequency, but I pretty much can guarantee you're not going to see a Marvel and a Star Wars live TV series on at the same time in terms of premieres.
No, absolutely not, which is unfortunate, but understandable. Right.
So that pretty much wraps up. Did you watch The Mandalorian? Of course, The Mandalorian. A big episode.
And there's 2 Star Wars this week, actually.
Yes. Yes, there was two of Star Wars. So let's jump now into The Mandalorian. We're going to try, well, it's been about 4 days now, so I think we're kind of safe on the spoiler zone. Great episode. It was the episode I felt like it pulled everything in. It pulled everything in that's been going on, of what everyone's complaints the past few weeks ago. These are all unconnected internet stories that have got nothing to do with each other. And within 10 minutes, they brought them all back together again. And it was just like, yep, okay, this is the whole idea of him bringing together his band. Well, that did happen. I kind of wished it, but it made sense what they've done. Great episode, lots of Empire, lots of stormtroopers, lots of ships. It felt fantastic. I can't wait till Friday to see the finale.
Yeah, it was kind of annoying that it dropped early, because I'm like, now I've got 2 extra days that I have to wait for the final episode. But this was the best episode in the series so far. I get people, feel it got into a lull after episode 3, which was also by the same director. And episode 3 was the best one prior to this.
She's doing the whole season herself, isn't she?
And she's doing Kenobi.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's Deborah Chow.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I was figuring probably around episode 4, maybe 5, that we were building towards some sort of like gathering of the team episode.
Yeah.
And that's this episode. I fully expect the other half of that to still happen, which is that the villains or the badder characters that haven't died will probably show up in like an anti-Mandalorian task force, but we'll see if that happens this season or next season.
I think it'll be next season. I especially don't think the guys that were on the New Republic ship in the being locked away, I don't think they're coming back. I can't. I can see Ming Nang or whatever her character is,
Mulan.
But I can't see. I can't see those ones coming back. But I thought that was such a great, and like you said, it ended and you go, no, where's the next episode? I want to know.
Which is why I like the non-binge style of these too, because you get that old like, no, I need to see the next episode. Same Mandalorian time, same Mandalorian channel. Come on. But even just on top of that, we finally got proper story progression. We got to see some of the original characters from the first couple episodes, not just, the hero characters. We still don't know what they want Baby Yoda with, but that should be interesting. We have a basic idea, but we don't have the full details.
Yeah, well, it kind of is that kind of line with the Rise of the Skywalker of, you kind of look at it now and going, maybe there was a reason why it was being after. Now, there was one thing obviously that happened in the Yoda in the Mandalorian that directly shows something that happens in Rise of the Skywalker, and it was that kind of weird thing of, I don't know if the Mandalorian helped or took that away. Because in one way it helped because then you knew that could happen. But on the other hand, it's like suddenly this became this brand new superpower that we've never seen before. And suddenly within like 3 days, it's used multiple times. And I don't know, it was very telling, really.
He used that power in a previous episode too. It was actually one of the first episodes that he was in.
The healing episode?
The Mandalorian got wounded, like he got winged before he had all the Beskar armor. Yeah. And Baby Yoda healed him.
I didn't even know.
That was like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
They had established this before, but then they kind of didn't mention it again. And then they're like, oh, yeah, you can totally do that. I suspect the timing of them bringing it back up is not an accident, though.
No, it was. I think that whole connection thing with Rise of the Skywalker was a little bit of a misstep in terms of what they were doing. I think there was a lot of expectations that there was a bigger connection, and there wasn't. The fact that they put out this whole special sneak peek, I just run forward to the end to see where it was, and it's like, no, it's not there. I watched the credits twice, wasn't there? Like, then they put up on the banner, oh, it's in the extra section. It's like, no. You said in the press release there was going to be something at the end of it, and to watch the end of the credits, and it's like, that's not the same. But yeah, there was no connection with Rise of the Skywalker really, but a fantastic episode. Can't wait till the final one. So when we next talk about the Mandalorian, it will be not next week; it'll be the week after.
And there will be like spoilers.
We're gonna do a full deep dive on that episode, I think, when we've seen the whole season in one go. But kind of go into Rise of the Skywalker as well, because we both went to see that one. I went to see it Thursday morning. Went first thing. We are going to try and keep spoilers to minimum.
We'll leave the spoilers out. It's the movie's 2 days old at this point.
It's very much along the lines of my thoughts on this movie were, this is Star Wars. This felt like the natural sequel to Force Awakens. The pace, the way it felt like it had all those. It really did make you feel like I wished Abrams had done the middle movie. the back, because there was some stuff in this movie you're like going, you really needed to have expanded this part of it, and all the stuff, all the mess that you made in the middle movie, the characters were completely just thrown to the side and just irrelevant, and my biggest issue obviously was the Emperor. Of just like, why wasn't he introduced in the last movie? Why? It's like he needed, I don't know, just throw it down in the screen in the credits at the very beginning that he's back. It's like he needed a reveal,
Well, let's focus on not that particular reveal, but just reveals in general here. And again, no spoilers, but this has been a problem with this entire trilogy, where we're supposed to have these major reveal moments. Let's go back to Force Awakens. Snoke is up there and he's talking to Kylo Ren, and we don't know who Kylo Ren is at this point. We just know he's the Darth Vader character, but we don't know his history. And he's just like, oh yeah, your father, Han Solo. And you're like, wait, what? Hold on. This is a major point right here. And he's just kind of tossing it out. Then you've got, as you said, the Emperor in the opening crawl when he hasn't been mentioned in this trilogy at all to this point. That's a major plot point. And then there's another one later in the movie where they're like, oh yeah, by the way, your parents are, and like, wait, hold on. This has been the big mystery of the entire trilogy. And you're just like, oh yeah, that's your parent. Oh, wait, what? You can't just drop it like that.
No, it really feels like now, just like having seen the three of them, you're like going, there's one in the middle. And I've probably been on that line of The Last Jedi. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't have that whole hate class. And, I've had many a nights in the Star Wars gaming club where we're all yapping away and everybody hates pulling it to pieces. And I'm usually the one defending it. This was where I've kind of come into now after the last movie go, yeah, no, that movie really didn't help. I've joined the team.
So no matter what you think of Force Awakens and Last Jedi, which one you prefer, which one you don't, I'm talking in general here. The biggest problem of this trilogy is that you had two different directors with two massively different views of where they wanted to go. Yeah, styles, views. I said back when Last Jedi came out, one of the biggest problems with it was that Rian Johnson took a whole bunch of plots that J.J. Abrams introduced and was just like, yeah, you know what? These don't interest me at all. We're just going to dump these to the side. They're not important at all. Yeah. And then we have the exact same thing here where J.J. Abrams is going, yeah, by the way, I do like those plots, so let's bring them back in and let's ignore these other plots. I'm fairly convinced if he could have gotten away with it, he would have brought Admiral Akbar back just to spite Rian, being like, yeah, we're just going to kill him. Like,
I did like the reference to at least the Holdo move. I did like that they at least acknowledged that was there. But I really enjoyed this movie. It gave me that same feeling that The Force Awakens did, of the fun. There was jokes, there was humor in it, there was action. The only thing that really bugs me is how quickly they introduce a new character and suddenly she's important. It's like Finn meets this girl on this planet and suddenly she's like his best buddy and won't leave his side. And like, why do we need that? They didn't need her. We didn't need those people at all. It was just like, she could have found the ship and little, a few bits and pieces and stuff. And she didn't need to go with them. And it was like, why? They didn't need this character development. You didn't need it at all.
I like the idea of the character. I like the way they played it because it's not just that she and Finn are like, oh yeah, we just met, but we're best buddies. They actually have like a shared history that allows them to bond, which was a nice bit, but I would have liked to have seen it explored more. It's like, let's drop in this
especially when both of them turn out to be Lando's kids,
Given that Lando is hitting on her in the final scene, that's not a spoiler, but no, bad, Roger. Bad.
it's just like you just look. It's like even him being in there. It's like he didn't need to be in it. He didn't need to be in there. And I know they brought him back to do this, like obviously to tie up a little bit, but it was one of those situations of he was not needed at all.
Yeah, but he was fun to have in there as well. And so this is why, like, I'll jump ahead here a moment. Like, if we were going to put a rating on this one, we don't typically do numerical ratings, but if I was going to put a rating on this one, it would be between 6 and 7. I kind of go back and forth on them, but I would also put the caveat, add on 1 point if you really want to go in for the fan service, things like Lando showing up. There are additional nods to older movies, older subplots. There's that great little Chewie moment, with Maz Kanata there. And which is a nod back to A New Hope.
Anthony Daniel is actually having an appearance without not being in C-3PO costume.
Also true. I think he's actually had a previous one as well. But all these little things, having Luke's X-wing show up, and there are a lot of little nods to the previous continuity, which elevated it a bit, if you really want in that. But at the same time, as you point out, Lando's presence doesn't really add anything except connecting it back to the trilogy. He does have his couple moments, but it's nothing you couldn't have done with another character. I liked having him there. I also liked the character that bonded with Finn, but I wish they had done more with her rather than just kind of dropping her in and saying, oh yeah, they're best buds now. It's like, sure, they're best buds. I really liked the character that Poe had bonded with, but we got an understanding that they had they had an explicitly shared history, but I'd like to see more about it. And this is, I'll let you in a second. This is really what I have two main criticisms of the movie, but this is the main one, is that there are a lot of stories that are hinted at here, which were more interesting than the story we got.
Yeah. To me, it was a little bit like all these extra characters that weren't needed. They were just thrown in. They weren't developed, and it was a little bit along the lines of, you've thrown these characters in almost, that kind of feeling, like you've thrown these in to sell toys and to put them in there for the sake of putting them in there. It's like you didn't need them, and then what happens is then we get into the situation of like with what was it? I can't think of what the character's name, Rose, where she's tossed to the side and it's like she's just filler. And it was just a bit like these characters have just been thrown in on the side. I don't know. I really enjoy. The thing is with Rise of the Skywalkers, like if I had to put a number on it, I'd probably say an 8. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great way of finishing it. It felt right. But I've said before, I feel like I needed another 2 more movies before we got to the ending. I would have liked more. I think it's like we're wrapping up the saga, and I'm going, but I don't feel like these characters have had chance to grow. Finn and all the rest of it. We need as much. I mean, they're talking now about the fact that these characters aren't over. They're going to carry on, and we're going to do other stuff with them. The actors are turning around and saying no, but let's be honest, once they realize they maybe aren't quite as. It's like with everything with these actors, that when they're in the zone and when they're in the bubble, they can sometimes get a bit carried away with not wanting to do anything. And then once the money dries up, they start realizing actually that these big franchises can pay them for the rest of their lives. It's one of those things, isn't it?
We'll wait and see, because you never know which one of them is going to be the next Mark Hamill versus the next
Harrison
Ford or whatever. Because, Harrison Ford didn't need to go back to Star Wars at all.
No.
It was very nice that he went back and did Force Awakens, because he didn't have to. But whereas, while Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher both had successful careers as well, they were not blockbusters the way Harrison Ford was. And you can talk about, Mark Hamill being the Joker and Carrie having her stand up in her books and whatnot. But there's a vast range of difference between the money that they were making for that and the money they were making for Star Wars. We will see. There's the potential there. Daisy Ridley could be an actor. We've seen. I'm blanking on.
Hayden Christensen is the first thing that comes back.
But Hayden Christensen,
he just never took off.
But to be fair, he might not want to. He got a lot of flack, and this is actually going back to Rose. You mentioned there her character getting shuffled off to the side. While I was watching the movie, it's kind of like, how much of this is J.J. Abrams going, I'm not interested in this character, and how much of it was Kelly Marie Tran going, you know what, the fan community abused the heck out of me. I want to minimize my presence and not rile that snake again, because actually the way the Star Wars fandom treated her was horrendous.
Yeah. But no, it's one of those situations. I think as a whole, I enjoyed it. I'm glad it was there. There were some great moments, some great scenes. I walked out of it and went, "Yep, I really enjoyed that. Can't wait for it to come to Disney Plus and watch it again because I'm at a point now where I don't buy movies." But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was great, and it ended it. It's interesting to see where they go from now because they've been very open about the fact of we've got a bit of a break before we get any more Star Wars movies. We've got these TV series to kind of keep us tied over, but I am sure we're going to there's going to be some carry on from some of those characters in that Rise of Skywalker are going to get some Disney Plus movies or series. You can just sense
it's gonna be Finn's friend.
Yeah. Well, she's in a TV show. I'm not going to say the full word, but End of the World on Netflix and Channel 4. She's in the second season. She's actually main character in that one. So she's done TV and stuff before, and so yeah, it could be any number of things. There could even be a Lando series where they're off investigating who they are. I don't know. It could. Yeah.
Actually, if they could get Donald Glover back for a Lando series, I'd be all in on that.
Yeah. I don't know, but nevertheless, that's pretty much going to wrap up this week's episode. So a big thank you for everyone for joining in. And make sure, as I said before, make sure you do subscribe, check out our Facebook group, etc., etc. And again, a big thank you to all of our Patreons. Hope you all have a fantastic Christmas, and we shall speak to you next week. And we shall see you guys soon. May the Force be with you.
And with you.